The Battle of Austerlitz, also known as the Battle of the Three Emperors, fought on December 2, 1805 near Austerlitz, modern-day Slavkov Brna in the Austrian Empire, present-day Czech Republic, is widely regarded as one of Napoleon Bonaparte's greatest victories and a pivotal moment in European history. This battle, part of the War of the Third Coalition, saw Napoleon's French Empire facing off against a coalition of Austrian and Russian forces led by Tsar Alexander I and Emperor Francis II. The early 19th century was marked by the Napoleonic Wars, a series of conflicts fought primarily in Europe involving Napoleon's French Empire and various coalitions of European powers seeking to contain or defeat him. By 1805, Napoleon had consolidated his power in France and much of Europe through a series of military victories and political maneuvers. However, tensions with Britain, Austria, and Russia persisted, leading to the formation of the Third Coalition against France. In 1805, the Third Coalition consisted of Austria, Russia, Naples, Sweden, and the United Kingdom. Their aim was to check Napoleon's expansionist ambitions and restore the balance of power in Europe. Napoleon, aware of the coalition's plans, decided to strike preemptively before the Allies could fully mobilize their forces. His strategy was to divide and defeat his opponents in detail, preventing them from consolidating their strength. In the fall of 1805, Napoleon executed a series of rapid maneuvers to outflank the Allied armies. He moved swiftly through Germany, aiming to cut off the Allied lines of communication and supply. By November, Napoleon's forces had crossed the Rhine River and were advancing towards Vienna, the capital of Austria. Meanwhile, the Allied armies under the command of Tsar Alexander I of Russia and Emperor Francis II of Austria were struggling to coordinate their movements. The Austrian and Russian commanders disagreed on strategy, leading to delays and confusion within the coalition ranks. The Allied forces initially planned to concentrate their armies near Olmütz, modern-day Olomouc in Moravia, hoping to confront Napoleon's advancing troops. However, Napoleon's rapid advance forced them to reconsider their strategy. Tsar Alexander I and Emperor Francis II decided to move their armies northward towards the region of Brna, modern-day Brno, believing it offered better defensive positions. The Battle of Austerlitz took place on December 2, 1805 on a gently rolling plateau surrounded by low hills and marshy terrain. The weather conditions were harsh, with freezing temperatures and dense fog covering the battlefield in the early morning. The battle began with a series of skirmishes and artillery duels as both sides maneuvered for position. The Allied forces, divided into four main columns, attempted to encircle Napoleon's army and force him into a decisive engagement. Napoleon, however, had anticipated their movements and prepared his defenses accordingly. Napoleon's plan for the battle was both simple and audacious. He intended to draw the Allied forces into attacking his right flank, which appeared weak and vulnerable. By enticing the Allies to commit their forces to this sector, Napoleon hoped to create a gap in their center, which he could then exploit with a decisive counterattack. As expected, the Allied commanders fell into Napoleon's trap. They launched a series of coordinated attacks on Napoleon's right flank, believing they could overwhelm the French defenses and achieve a decisive breakthrough. Napoleon, however, had secretly reinforced his center with additional troops, including his elite Imperial Guard. When the moment was right, Napoleon ordered his forces to strike. The French center, led by Marshal Soult, and supported by the Imperial Guard, surged forward with devastating effect. The Allied lines, already stretched thin from their earlier assaults, began to buckle under the pressure. The collapse of the Allied center proved decisive. The French troops, inspired by their emperor and buoyed by their recent successes, pressed their advantage with renewed vigor. The Allied armies, now in disarray, attempted to retreat but found themselves trapped between the advancing French forces and the marshy terrain to their rear. The Battle of Austerlitz resulted in heavy casualties on both sides. The Allied armies suffered approximately 36,000 casualties, including killed, wounded and captured, while Napoleon's forces lost around 9,000 men. The severity of these losses underscored the ferocity of the fighting and the determination of both sides to achieve victory. The consequences of the Battle of Austerlitz were far-reaching. The French victory forced Austria and Russia to sue for peace, leading to the signing of the Treaty of Pressburg in December 1805. Under the terms of the treaty, Austria ceded significant territories to France and agreed to withdraw from the coalition against Napoleon. The Battle of Austerlitz cemented Napoleon's reputation as one of history's greatest military commanders. His strategic brilliance and tactical acumen were on full display as he outmaneuvered and decisively defeated a larger and more experienced enemy force. The victory at Austerlitz also enhanced Napoleon's prestige at home and abroad, solidifying his grip on power in France and across much of Europe. The Battle of Austerlitz introduced several military innovations and tactics that would influence future generations of commanders. Napoleon's use of deception, combined arms tactics, and rapid maneuvering were revolutionary for their time and set a new standard for military excellence. The Battle of Austerlitz remains a landmark event in European history, symbolizing Napoleon's military genius and the zenith of French power during the Napoleonic Wars. The battle's outcome reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Europe, confirming France's dominance and altering the balance of power among the continent's major powers. Napoleon's triumph at Austerlitz stands as a testament to his strategic vision, leadership abilities, and unparalleled ability to seize victory from the jaws of defeat.